Alrighty, folks, welcome to the live stream. It's the Australian Open Championships, and then this morning we've got the men's platform synchro final, and we've also got the women's 3-metre synchro final, and I'm joined by none other than the man, the legend himself, Mr. Adi Hinchliffe. So look, Adi, it would be great to get your insights into how the athletes are performing and what we're looking forward to and how we prepare them. It sounds like we're going into a lot more detail in terms of the technique at the moment, so good to have you, Adi.
Ladies and gentlemen, introducing the competitors in the men's platform synchronised final. Team number 1, a combined team of Victoria and South Australia, Jonah Mercier and Zaf America. Team number 2, a combined team of Queensland and New South Wales, Archie Forsyth and Hayden Brinkley. We now introduce the competitors in the women's 3-metre synchronised final. Team number 1, representing Queensland, Lara McLaren and Lily Connors. Team number 2, representing Queensland, Charlie Brown and Mila Klein. Team number 3, representing Queensland and New South Wales, Emily Francis and Mariah Foti. Team number 4, representing Victoria, Lucy Duverson and Natalie Fan. And team number 5, representing Queensland and Western Australia, Georgia Sheehan and Madison Keeney. Good luck, athletes. You now have a 13-minute warm-up for your event.
All right, 80, here we go. So the men's platform synchro and the women's 3-metre synchro. And I guess the theme is at the moment preparing new athletes as well. So we've had some fantastic results, obviously, with the World Championships last year and the super final hitting the podiums there with our athletes, which was, fantastic. So we're in a bit of an in-between phase at the moment. So why is the Australian Open Championships important in terms of procuring the new athletes, and what are you looking for at the moment, and what are we going to expect next in terms of the competition calendar? Of course, we can talk about the Gold Coast event, the Australian Cup, right? Is that what we're going to call it?
That's it.
Changed names a few times, I heard.
Yeah. No, we're attracting a bit more interest to that event. Obviously, it's outside in the beautiful Gold Coast, so with everyone sort of targeting LA and the outdoor conditions, it's another popular event for the international diving community. So, good morning, Joe. Yeah, synchro, very, very important as part of our strategy. You'll see some young. It's the young versus the old in these competitions. And I mean
Let's not say old, right?
And I mean that in the nicest possible way, because there's a lot of young people diving in this. But here we see, Zaffa and Jonah. As part of our strategy now, they're part of our A pod, which includes Cassiel, who's currently not diving this weekend, just resting up. So Zaffa's the reserve for this team and steps in alongside Jonah. To run this out, basically for contingency. If this was to happen and Cass was to get hurt in a major competition, these guys have got to be ready to go.
Yeah, and also the same situation for the women's 3-metre synchro as well. So a bit of a rotation with Georgia Sheehan coming back from that injury. Also, great to see it back, right? That was a long road to recovery, let's call it. But now she's got a chance to go in there with Maddie, just to test it out. Like you said, it's a backup, right?
Absolutely, and look, we've really felt for Georgia, and she's been just fantastic. Worked very close with her teams, both in Victoria and in Queensland, to get herself back in. We're just so glad that she's back in the pool. This was always an intentional part of our strategy to rotate the girls. She is the identified reserve for this team, a very important team. Currently, we're ranked number 2 in the world at this event. So we're resting off Alicia and allowing the first rotation, which is obviously Georgie with Maddie here. And actually, we go to Bolzano in a few weeks' time, where we'll see Alicia and Georgie diving as well. So we really see that we've got all bases covered just in case we hit some injuries.
All right, so that part of the strategy is send some new-coming athletes to some international events that are obviously not as big as the World Cups and the Super Finals, just to get that valuable competition experience.
I want to keep them ticking over. There's nothing like a bit of pressure, Joe, for these guys, and that goes today. This competition, it's interesting. Whilst we talk about our men's tower here, whilst they get going, these young ones, Hayden and Archie, have really taken it to her and put a bit of pressure on them. And the same in the women's. Lucy, Doveson and Nina, these girls are always in the background behind our first team, are very much our second team, and really put the girls under pressure in the preliminary round. Yeah. And behind that, we have a plethora of our junior teams that are very competitive. It's a competition within a competition, but our juniors, we have 3 junior teams really hitting it out behind that as well. So very exciting stuff to watch today.
It's interesting being the underdogs as well with the newcomers coming up the ranks. You've got, you don't have as much pressure, I think, as when you're let's call it the top dog, right? You're up at the top of the field, performing well, winning competitions. I felt that when I was competing doing cliff diving. I was like, once I started to get on the podium, I was like, actually, this is making me more nervous thinking about the newcomers coming up the ranks, right? So, in a way, being the underdog, I think, is sometimes an advantage. Yeah.
And look, the coaches and the athletes have been so enthused in this space at the moment. We've been running really intensive camps by event. We've done both the men's 10-metre synchro and the men's 3-metre synchro. And they've all sort of worked out that there's a home Olympics coming to this city, and we've already qualified for the synchro events. We get in by default.
That's right.
So
of course.
You can see that's raised a few eyebrows with particularly some of these young athletes who are now seeing an opportunity in a few years' time to maybe stand up in front of a roaring home Australian crowd at a home game to be part of that. So that you can see that this is probably the start of something that's a lot bigger than even LA.
Yeah, I mean, I think it felt like last year. Like Brisbane, it's a bit of a ways away, but then all of a sudden, year by year, like, hang on, actually, we don't have all that much time, right?
It's
like,
coming.
in terms of building the facility that we need, and then Los Angeles, you think, it's only 2 years away. But no.
Oh, it's here.
Next year, right? Knocking on the door. Then we've got World Championships in Budapest, so this is a really important time right now as well, particularly, obviously, with the likes of Archie that we're watching on the screen here and the other new coming athletes. And they're going to develop physically, too. This is the other interesting thing about a coach. Like, how do you approach things when... they're young, right? They're still 15, 16, and all of a sudden they go through these growth spurts. There's always this tricky balancing act for the coaches and for the athletes
It's
themselves.
just keeping them excited. And actually, we have said, whilst we are using this event and other events that are sort of recognised by World Aquatics, so they're still important competitions, there's really nothing. All roads lead to Budapest, like you said, at the moment. But for these young ones, in August, they're going to the beautiful Croatia to dive outside to their World Championships. And for juniors, that's their benchmark event this year. So some of these teams will be representing in Croatia later this year. So they've got everything to utilise from this experience here to help them with that meet in August.
Yeah, Croatia, actually, quite a lot of the Ukrainian high divers are based out of there for obvious reasons, during the war period. But what's the facility like there in Croatia?
I've never been, actually. I've heard great things. In my previous life back in the UK, I know they now use that pool, particularly for outdoor experiences, because it's a stunning location as well. It's something I think it's, those vane divers, they like a good photo of themselves up in the air with a beautiful backdrop. So
like at the Gold Coast? I've never seen a selfie on the Gold Coast before.
Correct. So, look, the athletes will be excited, but again, obviously, just like our seniors, we've been doing a lot of outdoor preparations with our young ones to make sure that they're ready to deal with diving outside. But they're Australians. We had the Gold Coast, so we're very fortunate. We're able to test them in those sort of situations.
Got a bit of news for everybody in the diving community listening in, the coaches and the divers as well. So we managed to get the Gold Coast City Council to add 2 additional 1-metre springboards.
Oh, great news!
Now we did try to install it. There was a little bit of a hiccup because the boards were set slightly too far back because of the guttering system. So the pool is actually being drained at the moment to allow for a concrete block to be moved forward so we can actually put the Duraflex stands. So we'll have 2 brand new Duraflex stands, brand new boards, brand new fulcrums as well. So those 2 1-metre boards will be the other side, or parallel, I should say, to the 3-metre springboards. And I think that's an absolute game changer, having also for the development of diving as well. So hopefully on the Gold Coast we can get some good talent identification programs running, so we can have simultaneous classes running on one side, and then on the other side we have our competitive athletes. But I think that will be great for the competition as well. So actually, as a matter of fact, that may even change the competition. we may end up using, I would assume we might use the new 1 metre boards, right?
Yeah, I think athletes will do. But it's always good. You can never, I mean, in our sport, and coaches will tell you this, you can never have enough 1 metres. They're just fantastic boards to do a lot of preparation, technical work. And it just, not just people just think they're just there for the springboard athletes, but the platform athletes do a lot of basic training on 1 metres, and it's very, very important. So to have 4 at the Gold Coast is a game changer. You know, we had the National Age Championships there not long ago, you know, and that was, I think that's the fullest I've ever seen that facility. But
it's great,
to do that again with 2 more 1 metres would give the event organisers a bit of a breather, I think, with some of those cues we saw on that competition.
That's always the thing at Age Nationals. Oh my God, it's just a massive line of divers. But also, we've got to start talking and thinking about those 0.7 metre blocks as well. I think we'll have to... Anyway, that's a discussion with the council, so we're getting into details here. Some other details, speaking of the Gold Coast, actually, I really enjoyed the Tag Olympics that we did. Are we going to do another one? That's my question. I thought it was amazing. Yeah. And for those of you who don't know what it is, it was... Well, Adi, I'll let you explain it, but it was basically a competition with lead-ups, right? Instead of actually your full list on 10 metre, for example.
Yeah, and what I'm trying to do, you know, I'm a new in role. It's been about a year now, and I'm just trying to look at ways in which I can really support the coaches here and basically dropping in my 2 pennies. Although I'm not hands-on coaching anymore, there's still a bit of stuff left up there in the wool inside my brain that I can probably contribute. So I'm just trying to drop in a couple of things for each athlete, each coach, to support them technically, where I think they could probably make the most gains at the moment. And we made it into a competition.
Yeah.
I always say, whenever you come up with an idea, it's always more fun if it's a competition or a game or something. It was a wonderful day, and we had our performance analysts make a judging system, and it was just a great day in the Gold Coast on that camp, and it really set the tone actually for the season.
I loved it. I just thought, I mean, it's also nice to try something different as well, and I think that just keeps a bit of variety going from the athletes, because we all see these amazing results, but there's still the day-to-day grind of training. So you need these different kind of events just to keep the brain motivated, and also to keep you sharp, and also to see, well, what are they doing in SA? What are they doing in Victoria? What are they doing in Swiss? You know, how are they, you know, you need to, and you want that bit of that rivalry between the states too, to a certain extent.
Absolutely,
you know?
absolutely. You can't beat a bit of competition.
So, and then let's talk a little bit more about, you know, your role. I guess it's not your typical high-performance role. So it seems to be, from my observations, a lot more hands-on. So this direct feedback to the athletes and direct feedback to the coaches on very specific, detailed points regarding their technique or things that they need to, or milestones they need to achieve. I mean, can you just talk us through that?
Yeah, I mean, look, we're very lucky. We've got a lot of experienced coaches. So the first thing with all this, I don't want to get in their way, because and even this week they're doing some wonderful things with these athletes. But it's really just to support them, you know, where I can provide backup, make sure that, you know, that they keep learning. You know, the age-old statement of, you know, you stop learning in coaching, stop coaching. You know what I mean? I want to make sure that I lean into their learning, make sure they're still developing. And that's really been sort of a fun part of this role. And you're right, it's a head coach role. So I'm literally just one step behind the coaches, rather than the traditional performance director that's a little bit more standoffish. I've got to be down in the weeds with them at sometimes to help them with this space, and also to be there to support them with whatever they might require.
Be in the trenches with them. I think that. I did see you on Pool Deck coaching one of the competitions as well. Was it in Canada?
And again, that's really simple. It's one of the coaches needed a bit of a break around that time. You've got to think these coaches, they're not robots. They have real lives. They're real dependencies at home, and you know, sometimes that's wives and children and family. And there was a coach who wanted to take a bit of a break around that time, so that's when I'm, you know, again, I feel that I still have the ability to step in there, fill that gap, to allow that to happen. Something that's really dear to my heart, Joey, is actually their coach well-being. Making sure that they are able to balance what they do with their personal scenarios, and that's been missed in the past. And I speak from experience. It can easily be missed.
I mean, I know how you feel. I mean, obviously we're both in the diving industry and high diving industry, and you know, and I've obviously been running the academy as of recently, but and it can wear you down when you have competitions every single weekend as well. I remember we had those discussions with Diving Canada, and I think some of their high performance coaches went into a routine of, Yeah, Monday to Friday. Saturdays off. I mean, most of the time they're doing S&C anyway on Saturdays now, right? I mean,
yeah.
So, I mean, you can give the coaches a bit more of that break on Saturday, Sundays, get a bit of respite and, you know, keep them sharp and make them feel rested when they come back to coaching.
And in theory, it's great. We sort of lean onto them and that. But, you know, coaches sometimes are, they just get, I don't know, they just, you know, you've got to remember this whole thing of coaching, it's not a real job, it's passion. These guys do actually still live, eat and breathe this stuff. Getting them to take a holiday and actually do these things may seem really simple on paper, but obviously sometimes they will just push and push and push.
I think there's a guilty thing as well. Like there's a bit of that, I'm letting them down if I take a bit of time off. And so it's hard. You're really emotionally involved with the athletes. I mean, look, I'll be honest. I mean, I'm still obviously kind of involved with the high diving scene. Just took a bit of a break from coaching for a bit. And I was actually quite excited to come back here today. And I thought to myself this morning, I mean, this is my world. Like, I've been diving here at this pool since I'm 7 years old.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? We're talking, I mean, I'm going to show my age here, but I mean, God, this is 40 years. 42 years of experience in the diving world.
Yeah, I think they're all ready to go down there. Just, I can see the referees in place. Judges are in their seats.
Yep. So I think
divers are ready.
So we've just got, just talking about the men's and the synchro final. We've got Jonah Masika pairing up with Zafar Madikar, and we've also got Archie Forsyth, the brother of Stella Forsyth, the high diver, cliff diver. And Hayden Brinkley. Let's head down to Wade for the intros.
Ladies and gentlemen, introducing the officials for the men's platform synchronised final and women's 3 metre synchronised final. Your referee, Eric Brooker. Your assistant referee, Caitlin Boel. Your execution judges, Execution 1, Helen Mercarella. Execution 2, Chris Lang. Execution 3, Paul Beach. Execution 4, Peggy Cheng. Execution 5, Eliza Cole. Execution 6, Lisa Wright. And your reserve is Jane Boel. Your synchronisation judges, Synchro 1, Gavin Wood. Synchro 2, Kim Hunanen Furler. Synchro 3, Gillian Brooker. Synchro 4, Monica Fly. And Synchro 5, Kevin Hall. I'll now hand the event over to our referee.
All right, I think we're almost ready to go. So we've got Jonah Masika.
And our first team is on the 10 metre platform. All dives
normally diving with Cassiel. Give us an update on Cassiel there, 80.
No, Cass is, as I said, we've really pleased with how Cass did at the World Series events, and just wanted to rest off. This is the contingency. You know, Zaffar's quite often ready to step up into this role. They're going pretty well this morning. They're under pressure from these young ones, though. You watch, it's going to be a bit of a battle, this one. I think it's quite close.
Okay, so forward 1.5 somersaults, pike position. There we go. Solid start.
Not a bad start. Chasing those rip entries as always. A little out of line, I think. I think Jonah just slightly in front, but let's see what the judges think of that, Joe.
Yeah, that's what it's all about, what the judges think of the entries. But I've got to just say this. I am a fan of the required dive. I love seeing back dive pikes, reverse dive pikes. I'd like to see reverse dive straight on 10 metre again. That's a bit of an old school dive, no doubt, but it's nice to have that. And in some regards, I'd almost love to see just one sometimes in individual diving. It's just, it shows so much control as well. So although you see a lot of somersaults and twists for the people not familiar with diving, sometimes those required dives are not that easy to control.
We missed the glory days where we used to do them a bit more often, but how good is it that Synchro keeps them alive? Because they are just so good to watch.
And this is a note for all the youngsters. Back in the day, it was 5 required dives and 6 optional dives. That was 11 dives. Yeah, those Open Nationals went for a long time.
All right, the young ones, let's see what they got.
And 1.5 pike. Yeah,
nicely together. Better alignment there from those two. That'll be a good start comparison between the teams.
Yeah. How do you manage the younger boys? I mean, how old's Archie now?
Well, he's in Group A, so
Yeah.
And Hayden's even younger, still only a Group B athlete at the moment, so they have to be a little bit more careful with how they load them up on 10 metre.
That was my question.
And this week particularly has been taxing for them because they're using full 10 metre lists both in their synchro and their individual event. And so far so good, touch wood, but they have to be very, very, very careful with how they load them to not go too crazy and cause too many injuries.
Yeah, and then obviously with time they'll start to sort of bulk up in a muscular way, in another 2 years or so.
Yeah, we've got good teams around them as well, Joe, look after them, particularly while they're growing.
All right, let's switch over to the women's 3 metre synchro. Laura McLaren, and Lily. Single twisting 1.5.
Oh.
Interesting choice, right?
Don't see that very often.
No,
Done well, I thought, as well.
Yeah.
They looked good there, didn't they?
Yeah, that was an interesting choice. I like it actually when people actually think, do you know what? Let's just mix it up a bit. Let's do something else.
Yeah, it's good to see these guys. These are actually interesting. These two have both come from the Youth for 2032 talent program from the QAS. So coming in slightly older as athletes and coming through the system. Athletes that didn't choose diving. They were sort of spotted through a talent program and they're doing all right today. Starting the women's event in style with that single twist.
Straight from gymnastics, I assume. Yeah.
Similar, I think so. I know that Lara was a keen triathlete. I think they were trying to get her into that sport. So
that's an interesting transition.
Yeah, but
something that's not fast twitch per se in terms of an explosive sport.
Okay, Mila and Charlie. These are our junior world representatives. These two, a brand new team,
nice and clean.
Beautiful rips on the end of there.
Look, it's just impressive. Like every time I come to the pool and see the development, I'm in that situation where I have a bit of a pause and a break and I don't see them diving for 2-3 months or 4 months, and I come back and go, wow, that's a lot of progress, guys.
Exactly. Yeah. And really nice synchronisation there, and I know that's probably why they're going to Junior Worlds, you're sort of demonstrating that level of quality of basic dive.
Tell me about Junior Worlds. Where are we off to?
Croatia.
That's the Croatian one. That's right. Yep.
A
Yeah.
combined team of Queensland and New South Wales, Emily Francis and Mariah.
Another one of our top junior teams here with Emily and Mariah, newly formulated at a recent training camp down in Melbourne. We looked at these two and a lot of compatibility.
Lovely. And speaking of the training camps, how many camps are you trying to do a year just to get the pairings right? Of course, we've got our own competitions and so forth. That's a bit of an opportunity as well.
There's a real mixture. I've really worked hard to look at some, purpose around all camps. So we have camps with the whole squad, and we're talking there's over 30 divers that come into the full squad camps, down to synchronised camps where I only bring 4 athletes in. So it's and everything in between. And the juniors predominantly tend to just have a couple. They don't have too many, but a lot of them are involved in the senior program as well. So it just depends what athlete, what event, and what we're doing at the time. But the camp program this year, I've been really, really happy with it. The coaches have just been phenomenal, buying into everything I've asked in terms of purpose. So it's been good stuff.
How long are you running these camps for? What's the typical duration?
Oh, they range.
Yeah.
They range. Normally 4 days, 4 or 5 days. And camps are important for the Australian team just because of the geography of the country. We've got to get people together on a regular basis. All right.
Lucy and Natalie, here we go. So back dive pike. Back to some style. Lovely, nice and sharp. Smidge over, right? But I thought the takeoff's crisp and clean, right? In terms of that nice sharp movement into the pike position.
Yeah, and these two are a really established team. They work together in Melbourne for quite a few years now. They've just been out on the circuit. They competed in both Canada and America at the Cups earlier this year. So they're pretty established, and they'll be looking to really try and put pressure on this front team. As I said, we came out of the prelim with not much between them from the first rounds on Wednesday afternoon.
And how they all fare in Fort Lauderdale in the outdoor environment?
Not too bad. It takes some getting used to, and it's one of the reasons we went to Fort Lauderdale. It was just great to be back in Fort Lauderdale.
It's lovely,
I was so jealous
not
to be with them, to be fair. I've got great memories from that facility, from some of the old Canamex days.
Yeah, I kind of missed you on that one. I did the high diving straight after it, so sorry I couldn't be there for the first part. But here we go, Georgia Sheehan, first competition back, is that correct?
Yeah, she's been in a few this week, a few semis and prelims in her individual, and she's done the prelim with this, so it's just great, as I said earlier, it's great to have her back in the frame.
Oh.
And there we are.
Very,
such elegant,
very,
and this is her strength, she looks great on these basic dives alongside Maddie.
I mean, both of them incredibly elegant. I mean, there's definitely Georgia's got her own style. I mean, beautiful line. As you can see the strapping on the foot. So, I mean, there's a fair bit of ligament damage, wasn't there?
Oh, no,
and
she
broken
really,
bones.
it was a serious injury,
Yeah.
yeah. But she's, as I said, she's done absolutely everything she's needed to do to get herself
Yeah.
back, and it's wonderful to have her back on the boards.
She seems to take setbacks very well, you know, and takes it in stride. I think she's leads by example, you know, and gracious in defeat, you know.
Yeah, she's
Obviously with Alicia Kaloy and that competition was very close for the qualifying, and a very gracious person indeed.
Oh, it's important to have athletes like Georgie in the system, fantastic role models,
Yep.
you know, really exhibit the high performance behaviours that we're looking for our young ones to sort of follow on.
And
So,
Madison as well. Like a lot of the athletes look up to her,
they are.
not only
Same-
because of her
same
results,
story.
but
Yeah.
you know the way that she carries herself and treats others. It's
they're,
exemplary.
You know, anyone would want them as role models in their community, in a sporting community. They're just great athletes to be working with.
Back dive pike.
There's your back dive pike, Joey.
Oh, I love it. I love it. Actually, I used to do it. I found back there, it was actually really tricky to control. I'd rather do reverse dive pike. You know what I mean? Just get a little bit more, a little easier to control. Very easy to over-rotate on these ones. But, I mean, Zaffa, very powerful jump, isn't he?
Yes.
Extremely. He's just got that natural fast twitch fibres.
And these two boys, you know, we've relocated both these two into Brisbane,
Yep.
which is part of our strategy too. So they both now reside in Brisbane, training with Matt Helm, who's also moved into the centre. So there's been a real big effort to try and put some more divers around Cassiel, and actually to really scrutinise a strategy for the country to make sure that we're maximising an event that we've been struggling with, actually, to be honest, in the last few major events. Now, same dive, see if they can keep up.
Yeah, it's good that you're talking about that training environment. It's nice to have those training partners as well, push each other on and help each other through the hard times. Back to Pike. Lovely.
Not bad.
Particularly
They might
Archie there.
Might have upstaged the older ones there. Let's have a look. That's a great dive.
Archie and Hayden. I mean, both of them have been absolutely and utterly impressed with I'll call it their rate of progression.
Yeah, 50
I mean,
points.
very dynamic, very nifty divers. When I say nifty, it's very acrobatic, very good awareness, good natural feeling, you know.
Yeah.
Very coachable, I would say, from what I've heard from the coaches.
Yes, and obviously Hayden's sort of one of the next divers coming through the New South Wales system.
Another
factory.
one.
Another one from Jarvis.
Put them in the
factory
furnace,
down
spit them
there.
out. There we go. There's another one.
And Archie originally from Victoria, came up as a young man from training with Mingong down there at the ACDC club, and has done really well since he's moved up into the Brisbane Centre.
Lara and Lily.
There they are again. The new girls. So they must have an interesting choice of optionals using that twister and a reverse dive. So they've avoided the twisting optional today. That's what's going on there for them. But they're pretty well matched, aren't they? Moving well together. Just slightly out of line there, but they're doing some great stuff.
That they are. Very, very consistent. Again, impressed with just the form and the grace. So hard actually getting the rhythm right, the timing right, and those hop hurdles as well. That's always a trickier one, right? Because everyone's kind of got their own nuance and their own way of doing things. So it does take a bit of time, and that's what obviously highlights the necessity for those camps, just to get into that rhythm. And you almost, when you're speaking of synchro, you start feeling what each other does after a while as well, right? You sort of become symbiotic.
They're doing some good work, both of them being coached by Vininka Arlo at the moment, who's actually having a great national reverse squad.
Oh, she's a super coach, though. Very experienced, obviously. Former Olympian as well.
Yeah.
Okay, another signature. There we go.
They copied
I'm digging it. And that was actually great. Remember that all of a sudden, reverse 3.5 twisters disappeared, and then they changed the degree of difficulty, and they brought the 3.5 twisters back. I'm like, yeah. And sometimes there's a piece of me that's like, maybe just tweak the rules so we can see some slightly different things again. But nonetheless.
No, there's some good synchro there, don't you think, Joe? Look at that.
Yeah.
Right on point with each other.
Yeah, you're right.
Actually, a great matching. Both girls, as I say, from this is the home pool in Brisbane.
Yeah.
Charlie originally from Robertson Gymnastics, the same gymnastics club that Cassiel came from.
Was she doing tumbling or trampolining? I can't remember.
I'm not sure, but definitely the same coach, the same system that, or the same environment that Cass was found. Mila was actually found in a school hall for a talent testing protocol that Vininka Arlo again put together a few years ago.
Yeah, I mean, Vaninka does work absolutely tirelessly on those things. I mean, she will hound people down for those talent ID days.
Yeah,
but that's what it takes. It takes grunt work to make these things happen. It's not like, oh, let's put a poster up and hope for the best. No, it's phone calls, going there, talking, communicating.
It's a labour-intensive scenario, going out into schools and finding them. But if you find a Mila Klein, then it's all worth it, isn't it?
Absolutely, absolutely. And obviously, Cass was an interesting story, wasn't it? Like how we discovered him.
Yes.
Actually testing his sister on the day, and then the mum didn't know what to do with Cass, and
brought him along.
Do you mind? Can he have a bit of a play? And you were like, forget her. Let's take him.
Well, I think
we mean that nicely.
Yeah, I think he's joining you this afternoon, so you can investigate that story if you like.
Bit of a yarn. So Lucy and Natalie, here we go again.
Yes.
First side pike.
The senior teams here.
Yeah, well controlled.
Nicely in time with each other there again.
Just a little drift to the side of the board there, but well controlled by Lucy.
Execution scores 7-7-7. 6.5, 7.5, 7.5.
You can tell they're just two girls that work together, so they're training in the same pool. Like you were saying earlier, we're really looking for teams that are training in the same pool to take their synchro preparation seriously. And you can see from these two, they're in tune with each other pretty well, so that's been done.
Do you kind of advise them to just back off the power a little bit, just so they're a little more consistent, rather than really just going after that first hop?
I think it's really a diver dependent.
Yeah.
It's a skill like anything else, but it's so individual. But also has to be more in sync, so less individual when you do it this way. So the girls actually can adapt their normal hurdle, even though they're diving with someone else.
I dare say Madison would have to adapt hers a little bit.
I would imagine that she's changing up, or it could be George too. They'll be adapting to each other in a different way that probably Alicia and Maddie do.
Yes,
you know what
exactly.
I mean? It's very, and that's the art of synchro diving, the adaptability in diving, not just standing there by yourself.
But I dare say I think the pairings are looking really good. So I think kudos to the whole team around Australia for getting those pairings right and testing things out and mixing and matching. And I think not just in terms of, let's say, height and physique, but I just do think technique-wise.
Yeah.
I mean, are you also working on consistency of, for example, like you look at the Italians, you're like, they've got their own kind of style. The Mexicans kind of got their own thing. Do you think we've got to that point where we've got that national consistency, that little stamp of
I don't know, actually, that's interesting. It's hard when you're inside it, I suppose. Maybe the Italians wouldn't know what that is, but from us, we see it from the outside, you know what I mean?
Well, I mean, I've noticed it certainly in the high diving scene. You see distinct ways and styles of performing dives. So Archie Forsyth and Hayden leading the way. Not about too much, but enough to kind of go, hang on.
Yeah.
Watch out.
Yeah, as I said, it's interesting with the younger pair taking the lead. There's pressure on these two to catch them up.
So there we go. Step it up now. We're away from the required dives into the optionals.
This could be where we see the difference as we start to raise the degree of difficulty on the dives.
Nice line standing on the platform. We like that. Your thoughts on the high start on the toes now? And obviously there's different approaches to how you want to stand on the platform for inward, but obviously both boys choosing to have that high stance up the toes before getting into the rhythm.
I think the key is just making sure they're not up there too long. You can just try the calves out a little bit. But it works really nicely for their synchro because it's a similar style. Because inward, there's a lot of the success of this dive comes from the speed of those ankles moving in the jump technique. So not too bad. A little splashy on the bottom, but great timing. They really looked good there, didn't they, together, coming down and around on that dive.
A little bit of tweaking to do on the bottom there as well. So Zafra just pushing back a little bit as well. That makes it probably the reason why he came a little short too, right?
Yeah.
So Archie Forsyth.
They're in good hands there. You saw Matt Helm coaching them. That's
twinkle toes.
To have and also an Olympic medalist in this event to be guiding you through. Probably gives them a little bit of an advantage maybe today. I
still remember Matt's second place finish in the Olympics, and I just remember him crying. I think I almost cried as well. It was just one of those wow moments, especially in men's 10 metre. It's so competitive.
I tell you what, these young ones are not making it easy for them. They've just dropped that 3.5 bike team pretty clean.
It won't be long until they're doing front 4.5.
No.
Okay, so front 3.5 pike, I don't know, how long, when are you thinking front 4.5? Like, what's
It's
the
just
time frame?
It depends. Again, like I was saying earlier, everything's very individual. People just don't grow and develop at the same rates and to the same point. You've just got to really understand your athlete and look for those opportunities. If the physical and technical and mental align and the stars align in those three spaces, then you can start looking at increasing degree of difficulty.
Yeah, we always forget to talk about the mental side of things, and it's obviously a key component of things. It's a scary sport. I think if you're new to diving, it's every time you get on the board, there's always that element of nerves. Yeah. It's not just competition nerves. It's you've got to get it just right.
So back to the springboard now. These guys start in their optionals. So in 2.5 from the young girls from Brisbane.
Yeah, solid
start.
Very good, wasn't it? Yeah. Again.
Yeah, just
both went after it. Really sharp kick as well. Good finish on the end.
I think for both of these girls, I think this is their first Open Nationals. Coming up against the older athletes, so not showing any signs of nerves there really. And that's fantastic synchronisation.
No. I tell you what I really like. I really enjoyed watching that nice sharp. What's the kick out?
Yeah.
And bang. Going for it. Right. I'm in competition mode. I'll shoot out of the dive no matter what. I'm going for form.
Yeah.
A very good synchro.
Yeah, that was a good scoring dive. Almost 60 points on that. They'll be well happy with that. I think that's better than what they put together in the preliminary round. So, improving their score there, both the girls.
Okay, Charlie Brown and Mila. So, opting for a back 2.5 somersaults.
Yeah.
Tuck.
I think Mila's the youngest in this event. She's just coming up into her, what we call Group B, which is under 15s. And the first year, so I think she'll be either 30 or turning 14 this year. Charlie a little older in the Group A category, which is the under 18 category.
Yep. Interesting dive to start with, you know, in terms of the optionals, back 2.5 as well. Obviously a dive they both feel comfortable with to start with. I mean, normally most people avoid those dives, you know what I mean?
I think they're both, as I said, they're both good at back spinning. They're back spinners, as we call them. They're very aware in the back and reverse direction, so they're playing to their strengths as opposed to that inward we just saw from the other girls. But equally stable dive for them. So it's, as I said, it's a great competition. There's really, like I said, there's a competition within the competition with these junior teams today. Really pushing these two before they and as they prepare for their benchmark event in Croatia, as we mentioned earlier.
So it's interesting to look at the personality type. So I quite like watching Charlie dive. She just gets on with it. Yeah, whatever. Yep, I'm good. Yep, let's do it.
Easy going is Charlie, but good fun as well.
Okay, Emily and Mariah.
Yep.
Okay, also back to enough. Okay, interesting. All right.
Same dive. Good comparison. Similar.
Yeah.
Similar. I think Mariah just a little bit back on the alignment there, but timing's again good. I think there's not going to be much between these teams, Joe. It's a good little battle, isn't it?
Mariah, obviously a little back on it, but good extension though. Obviously getting some height on it.
It's just so good to see so many teams competing at our national events now. There's more, and we would have more. I mean, unfortunately, our sport does lend itself to injury. We've got a few athletes that are not involved. Nothing too serious, but I think if we had that perfect week where everyone was fit, I reckon there could be another 2 teams in this as well. It's always been a strong event for Australia, but the pipeline's healthy.
Yeah. And obviously with these back rotating dives that we just saw, I mean, the harness work's very important at the moment, right? So I've heard you've got someone brought in to do a lot of harness work. Is that right? Was it Cass's brother?
Yes.
Did I hear?
Yeah, that's happening in Brisbane at the moment. So Liam is a coach in his own right, a very good acrobatic coach. So he's not like he's not skilled, but he's been working with Professor X, the Master Shining, in the centre here, and also with a little bit of help of Matt Helm as well. And they've been educating him around harnessing, and he's already accelerated so much. He's in regularly. Such a good idea, that bringing someone in with that sort of knowledge. And the fun piece is, I come in the gym sometimes and see him harnessing Cassiel's front 4.5. So he's actually harnessing his brother, which is just incredible to have your own sibling, in your team helping you get better as a diver.
Cass looks at him sideways. Don't stuff it up, buddy.
No, and they look similar as well. They look really similar. Yeah. All right, back to Georgie and Maddie.
Okay, here we go.
On to the big dive. In with 2.5 pike.
Again, George's first competition back, not today, of course, but this week in the Open Championships. All right, question on the T start. Sometimes people are starting with a low on the board and then coming up laterally up to the head. Yeah. And then obviously they're going with a T and then raising up. Doesn't matter. What are your thoughts? Whatever.
Personal again, Joe. Same answer. It's just personal preference. I think these two prefer that. I know Maddie really prefers this. It depends how much energy they want to put in the board in that pre part of the press.
Yep.
And how much energy we want to put into that. But
in terms of like getting up the ranks with the pathways of the junior athletes, I mean, do you have any thoughts on just consistency with that? Again, just trying to find what works best for them. Bit of an individual thing.
Yeah. We try to set the the standard across what we were expecting in different techniques. But then, here we are looking at Maddie. You're looking at Maddie. She's one of the best in the world. If we want to go with Maddie, we tend to lean it into her technique a little bit.
Yeah.
Because she's our profile 3-metre girl, and we want to capitalise on that when we put a synchro team together.
Yeah.
All right, back to the fellas, up on top deck again.
Okay, get your spotting on. It's all about aerial awareness. Hopefully all that good harness work from Cash's brothers worked here. All right,
no pressure,
what's
Liam.
His name? What's
Liam.
Liam. Okay, yeah,
no
Liam.
pressure.
You better have done a good job, mate. We're watching you. Come on. Yeah. I'll give Cash a bit of a hard time with that later. All right, little underdone, I'd say.
Yeah,
but I mean,
it's an opportunity. Again, these young ones are putting pressure on them, just slightly missing those dives slightly. The synchronisation wasn't too bad, I thought. I'd have to look at the replay, but it wasn't sort of in line and stuff. But it lacked a bit of accuracy, I think, down the bottom there, just to make sure that they're going through.
Yeah, I mean, I think they had it. Obviously, it's just the come out, but that's God, it's easy here to consider and criticise, right? You're up in the commentary booth, but at the end of the day, like, you're still... Yeah. We're talking about split seconds to get the timing just right.
Fine lines, aren't there? Fine lines here between really scoring big and not. It's just, and that's why we love diving. That's why it's so euphoric when you get it right.
I mean, at the end of the day, like I said, it's just milliseconds to, in terms of the come out, getting it right. How's everyone faring with the lights? Beautiful new lights now. I mean, it's I'm glad we've got it. It always felt like it was gloomy before, right? And now it's like,
these on, I don't even need my glasses. I can see what's going on quite nice and easily. So.
All right, Archie and Hayden.
Okay, an opportunity to stay ahead for these two. They've got their in with 2.5, which it's not new for them, but it's still, these guys are, new at competing at this level.
All right, staying consistent.
They're staying solid. Nice rips. They're a little bit short of entries, but that staying clean like that I think that really catches the judge's attention when they do that. So
notice Archie was quite good at pulling through the water, right? Sometimes he's short, but you can get that little cheat rip.
Yeah, no.
Short rip, pulled it through.
Very clever, very smart move. Because he was almost just out a bit early, wasn't he? But he managed to hold on to that.
Again, both of them, they're very, very talented, Archie and Hayden. I mean, just again, I reiterate just that natural feeling. In terms of aerial awareness, it's absolutely fantastic.
No, it's nice. And pulling away from Zaf and Jonah there. So
interesting.
It's not over yet, but good contest between our two men's teams today.
Right, back to Lara and Lily, and it's back to the battle of spotting. Okay, is Liam been spotting them as well in the harness?
He's been doing everyone, I think. Right. I think he's been a busy. He's had his work cut out in the dry land.
Yeah, I hope he's hit the gym. I hope he's staying strong.
That's why he's in, because myself, Charlene, Matt, we're all falling to pieces up here.
So I was doing a bit recently. My back went twang. I was like, oh dear.
It's a young man's game there. Not too bad. Not bad. They're still a little off, but again, new divers. They won't be too disappointed with that.
And again, this is an amazing opportunity to set the tone, to get some experience.
Yeah.
And feel what it's like to be amongst, some of Australia's best athletes.
Yeah.
And we've all got to start somewhere, right? We've got to work our way up through the ranks.
Absolutely.
We're still very impressed with both of these divers.
Yeah.
Very good.
For the amount of time they've been in here, to be standing on this is our top stage domestically, and holding themselves together, they look pretty comfortable. If they are nervous, we can't see that in how they're approaching their list, and that's really encouraging for me to know that they can, contain their or self-regulate during a competition, which is look at them, really quite calm and enjoying themselves.
Yeah.
That's great to see.
They look really composed.
Yeah.
Charlie Brown and Miller. Charlie's an interesting one. Looks like nothing phases him. So, yep, I'm good. Everything's fine. Do.
Yeah. They come reverse 2.5. Oh. Oh,
I spoke too soon.
You jinxed Charlie, Joe.
Don't blame me.
You jinxed Charlie.
Blame Liam.
Yeah, and that's a real shame because this is their strongest dive. Actually, it's one that's served them well. Now, she'll be disappointed with that.
But that happens to Madison.
Yes,
the world's best.
Mate,
it doesn't matter.
No,
it's okay.
This is diving. This is the skill of it. We've seen over and over again. The art of the springboard diver is to avoid that, and it does just happen. It's just a tough gig.
It does.
Yeah.
The springboard is so unforgiving sometimes, and we spoke about that last time we did the nationals of that.
Yeah.
There is no such thing as a perfect hurdle. You have to have.
And while she's upset, we all know what she can do and how she can dive. So she'll be back. Don't worry. But we move on to the next round and the next team.
Strong.
Yeah.
Good elevation from the board.
Yeah, real big dive there. That's going to make a difference to this team today.
You have really seen a tremendous improvement in terms of power and height from both of these athletes. I mean, look at Hurler here. Bang!
Yeah.
Good kick and stretch down there. Emily probably just stepped back on the board a bit, so got a little bit of that forward angle. So just
No. And Emily's really, she's just really had a good week this week. I think it's the best I've seen Emily Francis dive this week. Mariah's really been a strong competitor, one of our top Group A girl at the moment. So again, it's just a healthy event for us, seeing so many of our springboarders doing so well.
Look, they're really excited about it, but they did finish the dive very well, right? I mean, fantastic.
Yes,
Lucy and Natalie now.
Maybe putting pressure on some of the senior teams here as well.
All right, adding another somersault, front 3.5.
Yep.
Okay.
All right.
Good.
Lucy just got caught a bit off the end of the board there. Did a good job to get that round.
No, I saw that as well. I was going to say the exact same thing. I was like, wow, really fought for the dive. And this is the interesting point, right? No matter the takeoff, you must fight for the dive.
Yeah,
right to the very end, you know. And she did that. So grit and determination, we all need that sometimes. Again, we reiterate, there's no such thing as a perfect hurdle.
No.
Occasionally it comes around every now and then, once in a blue moon.
Yeah.
But you've got to work with what you got.
And they've got all the tricks, this team. They're doing everything that the top teams in the world do, and it's great to see sort of a depth in this event for us and having a second team that has this level of performance in their mix.
Back to our superstar athletes, Georgia Sheehan and Madison Keeney. Also front 3.5 pike. Let's just look for the elevation of the board here. Let's see how they fare.
Not too bad, not too bad. Georgia's missing a hurdle slightly, but like you said before, did a great job, adapted, worked it round again. Same as we were talking about with Lucy before. Maddie very solid on hers again.
Yeah. You can hear, obviously, the rhythm of the board on that one.
Yeah,
they can't hear it
just
at this
a little
point.
out of balance, you see, but did a great job to get that dive still over the top and into the water.
But both of them immaculate pike position as well. I mean, look at the flexibility, holding tight. And that's the thing, when you're rotating that fast, it's really hard to have a tight pike. Look, you've got so much...
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Centrifugal force, I like to call it.
Correct.
But that's hard. And obviously that's why you need that arm strength as well. People forget that it's not just abs and legs. You need a bit of that bicep strength to pull into that pike and hold on. And I remember doing it. I mean, you're fighting in the air.
Right.
Wow.
A 17-point lead or 16 points
ahead.
Yeah. That's two dives to go.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Everything to play for. I know the boys are using, the younger ones are using a lower DD dive in this next round. So there is an opportunity for Jonah to catch up with Zaffa.
Yeah, so that's a good point actually. So reverse 2.5 for the boys with Archie and Hayden, and then Jonah will do reverse 3.5.
And same here, Emily and Mariah encroaching and catching up Lucy and Natalie here. We might have a bit of a contest. There going into the last round.
Yeah, so only so 13 points between Lucy Dobson and Natalie, and okay. And all right, back to the boys, or the men, I should say. So reverse 3.5 tuck. Big dive, this one, always a scary one to learn.
Yeah, just out on the scene. I mean, Zaffa in Canada did an absolute peachy. Went over 90 points on this in the final in the Canadian Cup.
Really?
And we know what young Jonah can do in this. So if they can do it together, and they haven't today, they haven't. It's a shame. Their capability on this dive is special. They can do it really well, but they'll be disappointed with that. And again, keeps the door open for these young guns.
Yeah, I mean they've got reverse 2.5 coming up, so that'll be. I mean, this is a battle of DD and execution right now. But I mean, let's have a look at the dive. Like, what went wrong?
Yeah, just looked a bit slow in their connections, you know, and unfortunately if they've not got the speed right, it's very, very hard to get to feel and to see yourself out of that dive.
Yeah, that was my first kind of instinct
And
as well.
both, if there's a positive, they both did it together. They made the error together, I think, there. So maybe there's a...
Yeah, it was interesting. Like, I know what you mean, because it's obviously, we're so finely tuned to watching diving now, but when they take off and you don't see that quick snap from the legs up to the chest, you're like, you're in trouble, because if that speed doesn't happen quickly, then you're, you know...
Correct. So we see the young ones, whether they use the one less somersault on this, whether that pays to advantage today, whether they can capitalise again, as they've been doing all rounds so far.
Do you remember the great Dimitri Soughton? Everyone was doing reverse 3.5 on 3 metre. You go, no, reverse 2.5 pike.
Yeah.
And he would smoke it.
Speaking
of smoking it.
it.
Lovely boys in the house.
Yeah.
Pushing the men.
Just brought the house down with that one. 2 lovely rips.
And
Lots
pushing.
of smiles, I think.
Giving Jonah and Zafar a great little nudge, a little wink, wink. Hello, boys. Hello, men.
Yeah, really
We're
showing
coming.
them how it's done. Yeah, and again, it's never... Always nice to see your young ones putting your older athletes under pressure. And that's just been done here by these two. Slightly different start, but came around really well together. And you can't buy those rips. I mean, that
No.
When you're live watching diving and you hear those sounds, it
awesome.
makes everyone go crazy, yeah.
Isn't it great? No, look, very impressed with those two young gentlemen. It's nice to see those reverse 2.5s, that nice early kick out as well, float the dive and then smoke that entry.
It is a nice dive to watch because it finishes so high, reverse 2.5.
Melissa Wu was a classic, right?
Absolutely.
Reverse 2.5 tuck on 10
one
metre.
of the legends.
Yeah.
Okay, the final round of the girls. 3.5 tucks. Okay, a little slower.
Lara and Lily, yep.
Yeah. But really nice to see these two be part of this competition today. Good competitive skills they're using, and no big errors, you know what I mean? Nothing, no silly stuff from them today. Really keeping it consistent. Much better than their preliminary round today. And I know that they'll be using this in their development. You know, this is where the learning takes place to really help them in what they've got next in their careers.
And then just sticking to 3 metre or springboard
These
events.
two, I think Lily will see. She's young. She's only 16, first year in her Group A. I know her next event. I think she's off to New Zealand next to their nationals, and then our nationals later on. I think in Melbourne, actually in September, we'll see her back again.
Oh, that's good. Anyone else going to New Zealand?
I think Lara as well. Her
yep.
synchro partner. There's a few, and a few of our younger ones. We tend to send our group our under 13s to that event, but we're just sending a couple of our older ones that just missed the Junior World Team this year to keep the competitive opportunities.
Charlie Miller.
And
Yeah,
a great
good
finish,
comeback.
Great finish, and that you want to see them fight back and not get when they have something go wrong, which is unfortunately one of the lessons they're going to learn, because it won't be the first time something like that happens in their careers. But the key is that stand back up there and show them what you're made of, you know. And they both did that really well there to finish like that
with good dignity. Really dignified approach there. And look, and Charlie really nailed the entry as well. Look at that, squeaky clean through the water.
Probably a bit of anger and emotion in that one for her, which you have to be careful with. But just really excited about these two girls. They're great athletes, and I know they're in good hands with both Valinka and Ed, obviously the great Edwin Young, who's chatting away to them there.
He's having a bit of a giggle.
Yeah. Who'll be looking after them as they go through that. So that's a good job from those girls, and onto the top three now. These guys probably sitting in the bronze position at the minute and putting pressure on our Victorians.
Emily and Mariah, so in with 2.5 somersaults pike.
This is a combination team. Emily from Queensland, Mariah, New South Wales. And using a big dive in with 2.5 pikes. So actually using some of the senior list here, which is great to see from these two young ladies.
And you might as well test it out now, right?
Yeah.
Before you get out in the international scene. And
correct. Yes.
You want to test those bigger dives as well.
Yeah.
So both have a look at the takeoff there. Yeah, very nice pike.
Yeah. So you know, definitely something to be working with. And again, in terms of our plan, we have a what it takes to win plan, and these are skills that you need to be able to do in this event. In with 2.5 pike is a very important dive for women's 3 metre springboard athletes.
Always a tough one though. Always scary, those inwards. Yeah, 61. Faring quite well.
And I think we've got the Victorian girls now doing their front twister. Pretty good dive for these two, this one.
Full out.
Nice
There we
and
go.
Steady. Yeah, nice and steady.
Good cheer from the crowd for Lucy and Natalie. Fun. Commendable. Well, when I say commendable, it was great to see the actual decorations here and the competition. Great new lighting. It really brightened things up and really freshened it.
Yeah. No, it's a lovely environment down there, isn't it, competing? I think the athletes are appreciating that.
I still like diving outdoors, though. I still love the Gold Coast pool and Fort Lauderdale.
Yeah.
There's just something about it, isn't there? Although it's difficult sometimes diving outdoors in the wind and the rain and on days that are not so good, but still, it's enjoyable.
Yep. Coach Harriet just finishing off the debrief with those girls before we go into our last dive for Georgie and Madison. 4 2.5, 1 twist. Same dive, actually. Good comparison again from this event.
Just making it look so easy.
Nice and steady. And great to see, as I said, that, the first rotation we're looking at and look really stable. It's a Georgie's a fantastic athlete. We're just lucky, aren't we? We've got so many good 3 metre girls in Australia.
Yep.
Just to be able to move things around and still have a competitive list like that with a great finishing dive on that front twist for the girls.
Yeah, we've got an all-star cast. We're really lucky. And obviously Alicia Calloy's just come up leaps and bounds, forgive the pun, but really made a rapid progression.
Yeah, we'll see her in action later on. She's had an incredible year, and her first individual international medal in Canada at the World Cup. Actually beating Maddie for the first time internationally was a big coup inside the team. But obviously, Maddie is just in probably the best form of her life at the moment. The way she's approached and the result that she got at the World Cup Super Final with Alicia in 4th place, just outside the top 3 girls
tit
there.
for tat, that was great.
So, and that only builds confidence. So it's just great to see. Like you said, I love what you said there. It is definitely an all-star cast.
Oh man, it is. And look, again, we'll come back to the coaching department as well. We've got some pretty healthy group of coaches, let me tell you.
Yes.
It's very experienced, and obviously we're working on the new generation of coaches. But to have those high-quality coaches mentor the next generation is so important.
All right, these guys are going to need to do the dive of their life and try and apply some pressure to these young guns who are just upsetting the party today.
That they are. Back twister. All right, much better.
That's better.
Nice little sound on the entry there as well.
Puts a bit of... So we're going to watch these scores because... pretty stable, so just keeping the dream alive. 75 points, a nice finishing dive for these 2 lads.
Are we looking at adding a twist onto this dive?
Yeah, I mean, Zaffa's already he's competing his 2.5 twist already, and I think Jonah's got it in his sights for the end of the year. I think that's something that we're working on so that he can start producing. He's done a great job, actually, Jonah, in introducing his 4.5 this year, which has been his big new dive for the 26th season. He's done some really, really good ones. He did one great in the preliminary round. He's done a great one in China recently this year. So these guys are still developing. I know they're part of our senior national team, but they're still developing dives, which is critical for the event.
What's your thoughts on skill chains? Obviously, if you're switching between 1.5s and 2.5s, if you're doing your lead up, so you're always trying to encourage doing half, 1.5, 2.5, always.
Yeah, the coaches are pretty good in making sure they do everything everywhere behind the scenes, making sure that these divers stay stable in their technique. That's a very important approach.
Just to be able to switch back between 1.5 and 2.5, I think some athletes struggle with that, right? You know what I mean? But do you put that down to not doing your skill train training? Anyway, let's talk about the boys, though. You're right. Here we go.
Little bit different styles actually on the start of that. They've both got that down. They'll probably hold up the event there. I think they'll be. They're obviously very, very pleased with how they've done as they embrace climbing out the stairs.
Don't have a stack on the way out, boys.
No more injuries because they're back in action. Both of these lads are back in action in the individual final tonight, which will be a good one. I know that Cassiel's coming in to join you for that. I think I've got to go do some work down on deck this afternoon. But yeah, really impressive. These boys, these guys got a little bit of tidying up to do, but I thought that was a good list from my young ones. And very exciting. Coach Vaninka there, and I think Esther Kin. Isn't it great to see Esther coaching as well alongside Vaninka there? Out of her very successful individual career and working with Hayden, this young 10-metre diver.
Actually, it was funny you said that. I just spoke to her on pool deck just before, and I said, how's it feel being on the other side now? And she's like, oh, it's so hard. It's because I didn't realise it was that hard.
No,
but she's doing a good job. Amazing
fantastic job.
Yeah,
She's got a whole plethora of new young kids coming in as we said, that N-Swiss factory down in Sydney. But then this is one of them, Hayden. What a great talent! And I look forward to seeing those boys at Junior Worlds later on this year and see how they go.
There we go. Archie.
They dealt with my A team pretty well today.
Yeah, look, commanding lead there.
Yeah.
So 29-point lead. Well done. Congratulations to Archie.
Yeah.
And Hayden. Fantastic job.
Yeah, good events.
And for the women, Kay Georgia Sheehan, Madison Keeney, of course. Let's just look at sort of the tightness of the fields. The second, 5:41 and then 5:34. Okay, not too bad there for second and third. I think we're pretty fair. Yeah. No. Look, I think all round, a lot of positive takeaways from the up and coming generation to our most experienced athletes. I mean, across the board, looking great.
And like I said, I'm looking forward to getting the intensive camps done, because look at this. I mean, we could, as I said, we could probably have 2 more teams in this. Real good depth in women's 3 metre synchro.
Yeah.
There's so much to be excited about with all of these names on the screen here, and just behind this, really happy with the support we're getting from coaches to take our synchro strategy really seriously, and keep our A team in Georgie, Alicia, and Maddie, keep them honest as we approach big goals in both Budapest next year and beyond that, hopefully in LA.
Yeah. And speaking of the strategy, what is the strategy per se? Like, just give us a summary of what you really, just to underscore the most important points about the strategy for synchro.
Okay, so it's do you know what? It's not rocket science. I'm looking for 2 really high-level divers that look good together.
Yeah. There we go. All right, thanks, that'll do. Okay,
you heard it here first.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much. So I was looking for this really sophisticated answer and I got nothing. Thank you. Leave me hanging dry. I'll remember that. All right, we're rolling straight into the next event. For the men's 1 metre, we'll see a bit of board dunking today.
I reckon we will.
I thought we were going to have a bit of a break and then have a coffee, but no chance.
Straight in.
Bednar done a bit of high diving in his day as well.
Yeah.
Spent quite a lot of time in Fort Lauderdale, working as a Mercedes technician. In other words, he likes fast cars.
Yes, he does.
But we all like a little bit of adrenaline along the way. So how are we looking in terms of the men's list? Let's just go through this. So we've got Hudson Skinner. We'll kick off the competition. We'll have James Wood, Benjamin Wilson. He's had some cracking competitions last year, as a matter of fact. Frank Burton, Zachary Chan, and Chris Bednar.
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting
new faces. So we got some experience in here. Hudson and Ben from Victoria again. Both of these guys. Although Ben's actually training at Auburn in America at the moment.
Did Ben win? I think he won medal last year, didn't he?
He did. He is the current champion, so he'll be the one to beat. And he's actually leading the 3 metre event at the moment as well. So he's come back and causing a bit of stir in our springboard. But I know Hudson will be hot on his heels. This is a good event for Hudson as well. Young James Wood and Frank and some of our 2 sort of juniors coming through the ranks at the moment. They'll be exploring some new dives. It'll be interesting to see how they sort of land against similar story we were watching the last event, seeing how the young ones, how close they're getting to our more senior athletes. And then brand new is Zach's real young. He's a strong young boy, but he's only in Group B. He's under 15 years old. So it's great to see him compete. And then Chris, as he said, one of our high divers who I know he's working up here in Queensland, got himself qualified through one of our state events, and here he is up against some of our world-class divers. Probably an opportunity of a lifetime for him this morning. I know he's really excited about being part of this today.
Yeah, it's good. It's interesting how he's sort of flip-flop between the diving world and the high diving world, but just came back to dive and thought, no, I'm going to give it a good red hot go and train hard.
Yeah,
so good on him.
Yeah.
So keen to see Zachary Chan. So I haven't actually had a chance to see him dive yet.
Another one of Esther's.
Yeah.
Esther, as I said, it's the impact of Esther in Sydney. She's got divers sort of coming through the ranks. This is another one. Actually had a bit of injury when he was a bit younger, but done a similar story to Georgie. Done a great job with his team, getting himself back. Mm-hmm. He's made Junior Worlds. He's off to Croatia as well. And what we like about him is he's strong. He's young, but you can see that he's a strong lad. And I think he's trying a couple of his new hard dives today, which I'm really hoping he does well.
Okay, let's have a look at that. So, got some...
Yeah,
oh, wow. Reverse to enough tuck.
Yep.
Okay,
so
that's a doozy.
And yeah, so he's starting to put in some of his high DDs as a young developing athlete. So we'll wish him all the very best. Him and Esther with the very best of luck with that today.
I was looking at the DD and I got a bit confused because I was just commentating Red Bull Cliff Dive. I was like, oh, it looks a bit low. I was like, no, wait a minute. we have an extra whole point on top of that. Well, anyway, whatever. I won't get into too much detail. But I've got to get my brain back into diving mode, not Red Bull Cliff Diving mode. Actually, the Bali competition was fantastic. I don't know if anyone watched that, but that was, wow, what a wild event.
What amazes me watching that and seeing, obviously, the great Rhiannon do it again and manage that. But also, we're just so proud of all our girls, Xanthia and now Stella, all fighting up in the top end of the group. And how they manage the swell, Joey. How do they do that? I swear I saw the sea moving, 4 or 5 metres of difference in the level of the water. How do they just cope with that?
Yeah, and it was a very, very difficult week. I mean, that location wasn't supposed to be the competition location. So the first one, basically, long story short, terrible seas came in, huge waves, big wind, and they were trying to set up the platforms, and it was just impossible. Really? So they had to abort that mission and then move to another location. So the entire team had to scramble and quickly set up in that place. But nonetheless, it was still absolutely beautiful. That kind of it's called a cenote, which is like those Mexican sinkholes, and it was just beautiful. But talking to your point about the waves, Rhiannon fares well. I mean, because she's a surfer as well. She's good at reading the ocean. Yeah. I mean, we know that waves come in sets of 6. You just got to take your time and be a bit patient sometimes and look at the sea, just see if there's a big swell coming in, just back off a little bit. But you can still get unlucky. I mean, there were some of the dives where you can see the swell coming up, right before their dive and just copping, big old uppercut to the chin on the impact. Pretty tough landings.
Well, I think here, when we see our facility here, if those sprays aren't working or something wrong, or even if we get sort of our branding wrong, it can really rattle our divers here in those conditions. And then I sort of look at the wind and the condition, and I admire those cliff divers, how they sort of deal with adversity. It's one of the things that I think we could learn from them. But, there was definitely some adversity in Bali. I could see that from watching it on the box.
Yeah, I mean, it's certainly not a session to kind of talk up the high diving scene, but, I mean, the main thing is that the athletes get used to those environments, right, where we can adapt.
Yeah.
Human beings do adapt. You'll be surprised. Every single one of these athletes, if they were thrown into these, more wild elements and diving outdoors more often, they'll get better at it.
Yeah.
They just will.
Yeah. So back to this 1 metre, so we haven't got all of our springboarders competing on this today. There's a lot going on this week in our programme, so it's a sort of a personal preference thing, I think, going on. But obviously next year we will be looking for, who will represent Australia at the World Championships. It'll be an important competition, as it always is. Maybe some names. I'm not sure Castiel's coming down on 1 metre, but you might see Sam Fricker in here, and maybe a few of those other young ones that may come through. We may see next year in this competition. But for now, we'll be keeping a close eye, particularly on Ben and Hudson, but also James is a bit of an underdog in this. James is a fast improving diver, and maybe he can be interesting to see what the gap is, or can he get close to these two lads on this event.
So what's going with Cass with springboard? I mean, he was dabbling in a bit of synchro and a bit of 3 metre individual for a while, just for, I don't know, just because he wanted to. I'm not sure.
I think Cass enjoys diving. You know what I mean? He just loves diving. He's a very unique individual, as we know. But sometimes I think he just likes to turn his hand to it. And he did last year. He dived on the 3 metre event yesterday in amongst lads, ended up winning. He was our national champion last year. If he had the time... and he didn't need to spend so much time mastering what he's doing up on the 10 metre. He'd be a good springboard athlete, you know what I mean? But he needs to put time into it, and he just can't do that.
No, not this day.
At the level he's operating at, and in his main event.
It's interesting what you said. He just enjoys diving. I remember an interview with Roger Federer, and this journalist said, "Oh, you didn't win today, or you're winning less than you used to, like." Why are you doing it? He goes, did it ever occur to you I enjoy playing tennis?
Yes, and that is exactly the answer you get from Cass. He just doesn't have the outcome focus that some other athletes do. He doesn't mind winning, you know what I mean? It's all fun, part of the fun. But it's the mano versus mano. It's just the sport. He loves the sport and competing in diving. Hence why we saw him on those springboard events last year, because he can. It's just that simple. But... I
remember falling in love with diving, and then obviously later, in my career into the cliff diving scene. It was just, it was hard to describe. It was just, it made me feel good. It was like, I think it was a combination of things too. Like you enjoy the environment, you enjoy the camaraderie. I think for me, I personally enjoyed the challenge of it as well. Like I could see these dives in our heads. Back then, we were being quite creative. We were doing things for the first time, so we're like, do you reckon this will work? You know, you're kind of scratching your head, looking to them. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. Let's try it. So it's this sort of experimental sort of phase as well. And there was such a kick to kind of thinking about a dive, visualizing a dive, and then getting it into the point where we're actually executing it. But I'm sure everyone feels the same. Like first time you do a reverse 3.5, big milestone dive, and you're like, I hope I can do this. And you finally do it. You're like, wow, I did that. There's an amazing sense of accomplishment and of facing your fears in this sport.
And I think, you know, let's blame Diving Australia, because what they're doing at the moment is they're running good events. There's a great vibe down there. The team, you know, Tony, Billy and the team down there running, you know, behind the scenes. The judges, I think Bree's got all the judges in the line, you know, they're all doing a fantastic job. The athletes are turning up. The coaches are really into what they're doing. It's just a good vibe. So the only outcome of this is that more athletes enjoying what they're doing. So and that's of course the goal. So it's just a good vibe this week, and it's been a great championship so far. I'm really looking forward to just thumping through all these finals over the next 2 days.
You made a good point about all the officials and judges and everything. All of that's working very well. And just a big thank you, as a matter of fact, to our judges, to our officials and all the volunteer staff. They do a lot of work, a lot of tireless work. So thank you. It is appreciated. It has gone noticed.
Yes, no, the volunteer network across Australia is so vitally important, and all of our national events just don't happen without them. And they're doing just a super job at the moment. There really is a lot of them here. I mean, they've just come. They seem to be coming out the woodwork, but it's just good to see so many people putting their hand up. You know what I mean? Just to come and help us run an event, an important event like this, that really is going to help me sort of move a few of these divers down to the next step, as we spoke about earlier on, which is the Australian Diving Cup in the Gold Coast in December. Totally excited about it.
What are the dates? December what?
It's the 2nd to the 5th of December. That first week of December we're going to be down there. We are hopeful in having a number of international countries come and join us, but it's very much the trial event to set up the teams that I'll be sending away early part of next year to the World Cups again, but also to other Aqua recognised events, to make sure all of our team are getting good competitive experience before we do our World Trials in May next year. Yeah,
that sounds great. No, look, I'll definitely be there for that competition. Maybe we might get on the mic together. Let's see what happens.
You never know what can happen, AJ. I think you never know. I was just looking like I didn't know what to do with myself this morning, and here I am, sitting next to you. So this is how it happens. Yeah, I called you and was like, I'm coming in.
We were actually going to trial commentating from home with a remote system, but I hadn't seen the diving family for a while. I missed everyone, so I thought I'd come and say hello. I think I'll do the same tomorrow, no doubt. But we're just about a couple of minutes away from the men's 1 metre competition, just finishing their warm-up dives.
And let me go back to Brisbane 2032 a bit, Joe, because obviously we know that the National Aquatic Centre is very much on the tips of our tongue. We're finding out about it hopefully soon. It will be where the Olympics takes place in Brisbane 2032. But we must remember that this facility back here in Chandler has been such an important facility for the Australian system for so many years, and it's going to continue. This place isn't going anywhere. It's just going to be a wonderful. It's going to have its own legacy, I suppose, as the new facility comes up along in Brisbane.
I mean, it's over 50 years old now, which is impressive. So hats off to the maintenance crew who've kept this place going.
The operator here, the team at Sleeman have just been wonderful, and I know that there's a huge energy to maintain that standard, even when the other pool comes along, including, as we know, one of the best dry land SAF training centres just outside the doors here. The only pool here in the whole country that has wide platforms of 3 metres wide, so we do a lot of our synchronised training camps here. It's just give a shout out to Sleeman and this centre. These venues are key to our strategy.
Yeah, a big shout out to Stadiums Queensland, and like you said, the management staff, and they were very supportive of the high diving program and our 2 metre box as well. So again, yes, I'm not trying to be too high diving centric here, but I just thought that they were very open minded about it. So sometimes you struggle trying to get new things across the line, and people get a bit scared by it, but they were very brave and putting their best foot forward to support the community of diving and high diving. We are one family, so Thank you. We say.
I don't think we're far away from starting.
No,
It
I
looks
think-
like judges are in their seats, but no, it's not like you to get high diving centric, Joey. I
Oh,
mean,
no, I know.
you know.
No, but look, we are nothing without diving. I started here at age 7 at this very
Correct.
pool. So, I mean, that was over 40 years ago. So this facility means a lot to me. I've had many great memories, you know, many struggles as well over the years as well. We always do that. You have your ups and downs, but, you know, we've seen the best of the best come through this facility. It's got a fantastic legacy. All right, Hudson Skinner breaking ground for the first dive of the competition. Men's 1 metre final. So 403B. So 403B is an M1.5 pike.
And quite an easy dive for Hutto. I think he's just obviously wants to start stable.
We normally do him with 2.5, right?
Yeah, it's interesting, but
Well, he does have that on his list, actually. He's doing that
I
third.
think he's going. That's what he's going to do. He's going to load up on 2 inwards, and again, whilst we're probably not in a, I won't say non-important 1 metre year, I think he's probably just using it to keep himself. Probably might be even helping complement his 3 metre performance, which we'll see tomorrow in the final.
Just keep more competition experience. I'll tell you what, though, really really riding the board well. Look at this big long pulls up the top.
Yeah.
Push and waiting for the board. Like, it's quite often you see athletes snatch the board. I mean, he's done a good job waiting for it and getting that elevation.
And it's good because he's Hutto's a very strong diver. You know, he can really put a lot of power into that board and maximise his height. Makes those simple dives look really, really effective.
Nice.
So probably a good tactical move in round 1.
Obviously, it's a slightly different physique for the springboard divers. You know, bigger quads, a little bit more weight.
And young James opting to go straight into business with his 2.5.
Forget the M1.5. Let me show you what I got.
Let's see how he goes, taking the risk.
Good. Steady as he goes. Well done.
Not too bad on his head there. He'll be pretty happy with that. James also a converting gymnast from a few years ago, so we still see some of those gymnastics positions in his diving. As his coach Edwin irons it out, but strong again. You know what I mean? A strong dynamic diver.
A little chance to coach him when I did a bit of that relief coaching. He was so great to work with. I mean, he's such a nice young man, very polite, respectful. I mean, it turns up and trains. Right? I mean, eager. Works hard.
You know, it makes very coachable. You know what I mean? Loves to have conversation with his coach. Very keen. Always 10 minutes early. You know, he can. You know, he's just so punctual with his training.
Another.
Right, the champ.
Friendly, the champ. Friendly young man as well. Also, my 2.5 tuck.
Yeah. Just finished his first collegiate year in America at Auburn. And
a little over. Uncharacteristic.
Uncharacteristic mistake for Ben Dare, but just fell back a little bit on that and over rotated. Maybe we got the speakers up too loud. He can hear us talking or something. I don't know.
Maybe buried the chin a little bit on the entry, obviously. But let's have a look at the takeoffs. But pressing up. So where's he in college at the moment?
Auburn.
Auburn.
Where he is.
Auburn?
And, I don't know, Joey. I'll have to get the map out.
Let's get Google.
It's a big
Where
place,
is it?
America. Isn't
it
it
is.
Yeah.
I think it's Australia.
Yeah, I don't know, but he's having a great time. He's made he's really settled into the community of college life, and you know, he's improving. You know, the coaching out there, John Fox is working with him. He's doing some good work with him, and we've had him come back, and they're very good in the universities and allow me to sort of bring them back when I need them for camps and to check and challenge, and also to check that they're all right. You know, because they're living away from their families and things. And but no, this is a real success story for Ben. It's really suited to him.
Do you guide them in terms of particular colleges that they should be focusing on? I mean, you
Yeah,
guys
we
would obviously have not a say, let's say, but like at least
Yeah.
advise and say, hey, look, these might be some good programs to look at.
Yeah, our athlete wellbeing team and our management of DA, they do a lot of sort of education expos, and they are able to give sort of experiences from other athletes that have been before, and so we do provide that advice when it's necessary.
Just quickly, sorry not to skip over Frank, but very impressed with Frank.
Yeah,
Very nice form.
yeah.
Beautiful toe line, very nice leg line.
Yeah,
He's good.
yeah. Very
First
neat,
time I've seen him dive. Yeah.
very, very neat diver. Working with his coach back there. You'd see less DD from him at the moment in terms of difficulty, but you're going to see some really nice looking dives, I think, from Frank.
So it's Esther, and Esther's coaching Zachary Chan, is
Yes,
that right? Yep.
one of Esther's clan down in Sydney. All right, starting with
Nice.
his front 2-9. You can see a strong lad.
Hasn't been diving long, has he?
Well, no,
Yeah,
he actually has, but he got a nasty injury when he first done that. But he's again, we're just glad that he's back and he's recovered,
okay.
and he's
Yeah.
and he's in the mix. You know what I mean? And he's only young. You know, as I said, he's only a under 15 athlete.
Oh, really?
But
Okay, yeah.
showing this sort of strength, that's sort of exciting for. And I know why Esther will be excited by him, because he's generating a lot of height. And probably what you'll see Esther do with him over time is just clean that technique
Yep.
and just iron him out to make him look a little bit neater, especially if he's got to dive against Frank.
Still comes down to the toe point.
Yeah, but no, we're really excited about Zach. And as I said earlier, another member of our junior world team that's going to Croatia and just returned from Mission Viejo, where he medalled out in an international in America
wow.
just recently. So
Congratulations.
we're excited about Zach.
Chris Bednar.
Yeah, off the 27 metre down to the 1 metre. That's a long way down to here.
Yeah, that's quite a change. Very nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And again, same starting with that nice simple dive, holding his own against some of these athletes here in this first round.
I thought very steady, very
Yeah.
clean.
Yeah, Chris, whilst working on cars, is worth mentioning he's training here with the great Jeff Arbon at Chandler Diving Club, so one of our top clubs in the country that looks after divers, just on the outside of our high performance programs, and gives opportunity to young men like Chris here, who's diving at national championships.
Yeah, it's nice to have a bit of a go-between scenario as well. Like if you're working your way up the ranks, or perhaps you're thinking about the high diving path. Who knows?
Yeah, no, I mean, our high diving programs are nothing without the support we get from our clubs across the country.
Yep.
We need that backup to make sure that we allow opportunity, in our sport.
James Wood leading the way, but obviously it's just round one. And as things progress, we'll obviously see more optional dives, increasing the degree of difficulty. Speaking of which, here's a big one. Front 3.5 tuck. Hudson.
Right.
Got to get this sort of takeoff just right.
From a nice easy one to something that's a bit more spicy.
Dunking the board.
We saw our
making
first
it look
dunk.
he's way too easy. Come on, son.
Yeah, fantastic.
Be
See
nice
that?
to the board. Be nice to the board. Don't break it on us today, please.
See that? Put that board straight under the water, and then actually being patient and riding it and going up so high. That's a really good dive for Hudson.
But some of the 1 metre divers just pulling the fulcrum back just to tighten the board up just a smidge.
Yeah,
That's pretty typical, right?
Yeah. And he's really, and he may, because he's going in the water, you find divers like that even might tighten it up a bit to stop that happening.
Yeah.
Because it does slow the board down just a little bit and can affect their takeoff.
Just a little bit of a touch is okay, but obviously once it gets too far down.
Nothing was stopping Hudson on that one. Here's James. Still needed 2.5 pike.
2.5 pike.
Again, nice and steady. With that 3.5, is that good enough to hold his lead? I wonder. But,
I dare say we'll see a few lead changes just with the varying degree of difficulty on the dive. Just a different style of the come out there.
Yeah. Just loses his way in his hurdle a bit, but just again, I think, I don't know, one of our up-and-coming springboarders, James, but again, what we like is power. He's got a lot of power, so he's the potential of the harder dives later on, will be very excited to see if he gets there. But just a little bit of technical development and just that form. You know, we talked about Frank, just getting that form on James's diving.
Yeah, that strength and the power, like I think that's a real asset. Once you've got that, like you said, you can always work on the form. Like with Cass, right? A lot of people talk, you know, Cass is a bit scruffy, but we were like, no, he's powerful and acrobatic.
Yeah.
Okay, a bit of a falter there for Benjamin. You know, he's had a bit of a miss on the last 2 dives, so he's probably a bit mad at himself.
Yeah, the pressure of that expectation getting to him here. Again, it's just a bit off the end, and again, when you're performing these harder dives, you've really got to be on the end of that board to maximise your height. Although, you know, Ben's another strong diver, but he's big off the end, just really doesn't enable him to have enough time to get all those somersaults around.
Has he been back in the country long, mate? I mean, is he bit jet lagged?
No. We actually flew him in early. He's been in Brisbane for just over a week, so he had a plan to make sure that he recovered from his travel. He's been actually competing very well in his other events. So bit again uncanny just to see him like that, but I'm sure he'll be fighting back in the later rounds.
And Frank Burton, very, very, very tidy diver.
Yeah.
He's really elegant.
Yes, very elegant looking diver again. You see him again also missing the hurdle a little bit, being a bit off the end, which lowered him down, but didn't really falter him in that dive. It's an easier dive to the 2.5 and showing off his good lines. And, you know, he will definitely keep the judges on side going through the water looking like that.
Yeah, lovely. Good sort of natural physique for diving as well, you know, in terms of the leg line.
Yeah.
Very crisp. But we're talking about the power is really important in this sport as well. You really need that natural fast twitch base. I think it really does help with the sport. Let's face it is a sport all about power.
Yeah. So we are our youngest competitor using inward 2.5. So let's see how this goes. See if that power is going to help him make this one round. He definitely made it round.
Yeah, no problem.
Too much,
in terms of making the dive. That was not the issue.
Yeah,
but still young.
Yes,
right. So just with
he's
time,
brand new.
With more experience.
And this is his first time, you know, coming in, and again, standing on the boards with all these. Again, I'm going to get in trouble. Not old fellas, but you know, these older guys.
The experienced ones.
Yes, It can be, you know, in a way, it can be a bit more intimidating for him. But yeah, just
super high and powerful though, right? I mean,
I'm looking forward to seeing as he settles into his career. Really interested to see how that. I've sort of got an image in my head on how he's going to look as an older athlete, and I think it's going to be very important to our national squads in the future. Right, young Chris again.
It's good to see more men coming up in the field as well. So we know that we were in need of recruiting more men in the pathway program. Good.
A bit slow there from Chris, but I think I've been watching him training actually. He's been working real hard. As I said, it's hard when you're out there, you've got a full-time job, you've got to do all of that, and then come down the pool and try and do some diving.
Well, I mean, back in the day, I hate to say this, but, you know, for example, rugby teams, right? Like if you play the Broncos, most of these guys had full-time bricklaying jobs. Building houses. Then you go to the field and go train and try and hammer each other on the pitch, and then you do the games on the weekend. It was tough going.
No, and it was touch and go. Really pushing himself. I know he goes down to, he's from New South Wales. He goes down to Sydney. He often competes in their state events as well. So he's really gone out of his way to try and qualify for this. And it's just great to have him in the field today.
Pretty tight there between Hudson Skinner and James Wood there, right? Just 114 and 113. That's awesome. Frank?
Yeah.
I mean, that's not that far behind at all.
No.
Only 9 points or so. So, looking good. But it's nice for me to see some of these newer divers coming up, like Zachary, of course, and Frank, the first time I'm seeing them dive. So,
right, what do we have here? No, right. Oh, he is using his bigger inward now.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like
interesting order from Hutto today.
Yeah, so inward 1.5, front 3.5, and then inward 2.5.
This could help him sort of take a better lead if this one goes in nicely for him. Not too bad, just slightly overcooking it, but very strong. Really strong.
I mean, very smooth and easy. I mean, it was just plenty of height, and he didn't even need to rotate that quickly, so super high.
And his inward 3.5 is looking better on 3 metre as well. He's really improved his position on takeoff on this dive from last year. So it almost makes it look too easy, doesn't it, that? I mean,
but he's probably been focusing more on 3 metre too, so probably the come out is a little bit harder to nail in the inward 2.5 because he's obviously sort of used to the inward 3.5. I would assume.
Yeah.
You know,
but not struggling up there and up that high.
Yeah, Harriet's done a fantastic job with his performance. James Wood, back 1.5 pike, a little more simple, but still important dive.
As I said, a lot of these skills are very sort of underpinning some of the techniques they need for their 3 metre list, which is, as you said, probably in their focus at the moment.
Yeah, it's still the foundation for a back 2.5 pike, right? So you still need that same type of come out, and obviously a little bit over on that particular dive. Perhaps needed a slightly earlier come out. They're never easy dives to control, these ones. I mean, you've really got to get it come out just right.
Yeah.
Probably pulled a little bit too on the way out, perhaps, as well.
And again, when we saw James last year, I mean, he's starting to find the style of diving. You were talking about the Italian style, and maybe he's finding his Australian style, but there's some good technical elements to that, even though that's over-rotated today.
Yeah, I dare say some considerable improvements. Yeah. I haven't seen James probably for about 3-4 months now.
Yeah.
In that amount of time, definitely big leaps and bounds.
Right, well, Ben's got some work to do here.
Yeah, he does.
To catch him up. What have we got? That'll help.
Okay,
that'll help. I mean,
and he's got the big dives, right? Yeah. But look, at the end of the day, he won last year. We know he's capable of great things. Just having a little bit of a slip up in this competition, but we can't be all great all the time.
No,
the best falter.
No, and I think that would have pulled him up a few places. I reckon actually, it's a big dive. So I think it's 3.2 that dive. It's one of the highest DD dives we'll see in this event today. So if he was one that he needed to hit, that was probably the one. So let's see what that does as he starts to chase back up on Hudson.
But no matter what, he's definitely got to put it behind him. Big dunk on the water there as well. So he's got to put it behind him, continue with the rest of the competition, see if he can pull off some nice clean dives for the remainder of the event. Big high hurdle.
Yeah,
nice
right on the end as well.
down.
See what I mean? Right on. That's a good landing. It'll give him confidence to get that dive through.
Okay. Forward, one somersaults, 2 twists. There we go.
That's it.
The dive you don't see all that often, but still a good backup dive on the 1 metre, I would call it.
Absolutely.
And again, a foundational dive. It's a good foundation for a double out, for example, on 3 metre as well.
Exactly it. And that's where we're, again, like I was saying with someone earlier, I'm trying to see what type of diver is Frank going to be. What's he going to do? And again, double out is a dive I could see him doing in the future. And looking like that on the end of a double out will serve him well. So this is a really important skill for him to be able to master. And he's going well. You know what I mean? A little bit of improvement on that entry, but he's going pretty well. I think he knows that. But he's explaining to his coach Becky there.
I think he'll actually fare better with his double out as well. I find that it's easier to do the twist out of that rotation. You can really drive the heels, and the extra bit of rotation helps the quicker twist. Zachary.
Yeah. She's in our basic single twister there.
Yep. Twisting 1.5.
Pretty stable, so I think he'd have felt more comfortable doing that. Obviously, some of his harder dives in the twist direction, not quite ready, so...
Yeah, and again, still very young, right? I mean,
correct. So with the young ones, this is what I want to see. We have a new program. We call it our athlete development framework. And for an athlete at this age, this is an important skill too. So it's his opportunity just to demonstrate that in front of us all, to make sure he's got competency in these fundamental skills, Joey.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes we've been experiencing this in the high diving scene. Sometimes we have some of the youngsters coming through, and they're just trying to do really, really hard dives a little bit too soon.
Yeah.
And I think you've got to keep it steady and stable in terms of the difficulty. Do some more simple dives, master them, move on to the next stage. Don't rush.
Yeah.
Patience. He got the dive done with a huge crow, or not crow hop, I should say, but obviously hanging 10.
Yeah.
More than I've seen anyone in a long time.
I love that state, hang 10. What we mean by that, everyone, is like all 10 toes go over the end of the board and it's panic stations. But somehow he managed to get that round.
He skipped the arm swing as well, so watch this is. He's under the hurdle. Forget the arm swing. No. We're into it.
Yeah.
We're in emergency mode.
As I said, that was all... throw all the plans and just hoik that round, but thank God he got round. Otherwise, we could have had a bit of a wipeout. Yeah.
Getting some technical support there from Jeff on that one. In other words, don't do that again.
Yeah.
But that happens. We've all had those dives, every single one of us. Huge lead there. Hudson Skinner, 171.65, commanding lead above James Wood. Although James Wood has had lower degree of difficulty, so you can really see that difficulty really pushing him forward there.
Him up and forward. And you can see Ben starting to chase up there as well now. So I think we could still see some position changing as we go into the next few rounds.
Yeah, I mean, if Benjamin's lucky, he could push his way up to third. So Hudson, reverse 1.5 somersaults pike. Massive height off the board.
God, he came down with snow on him, didn't he?
Who brought the snow machine?
And that's hard to do in Queensland.
I think he hit the net. Some of those sound panels might fall down on that one.
So using an easier dive and just over rotating actually. But again, this is very much supporting some of the dives he's doing in his 3-metre program. So choosing an easier dive. If he'd have dropped that, this is tactical, this event, and it could be a way in which other divers that use bigger dives can catch him. But let's wait and see what the others do.
I mean, a slide over rotation, but you've got to get it to that. I mean, you can see the judges there, a bit of a mixed score, but the ones who appreciated the takeoff were the 7s.
Yeah.
I mean, I won't say what I would give it, but I really was impressed with everything.
Maybe it hurt the necks as he went up there on that one. James doing the same dives, a good comparison. But again, just an error. Still strong, you see, but just you can see the controls not quite there, and a bit of shoulder movement from the start sends him sailing on the bottom, and then the judges will judge that accordingly.
And this is the interesting thing about diving, right? It's not just all about power; it's also about control and finesse. And as we talked about earlier, even the required dives, they take a great deal of control, and that means good technique, and it means repetition.
Absolutely. And we're all looking for this dive when it's done well. You're looking at power and control sort of meeting each other at a party. They've got to work together, and they went into different corridors there, unfortunately for James on that one, and obviously he just drops a few points and provides young Ben a window with a bigger dive as well.
A big dive. Big dive, risk versus reward. Here we go, reverse 2.5, sorry. Wow.
Did you see that?
Yeah. Again, it was like, I mean, similar in terms of the arm swing. His toes were overhanging the board.
But if you watch, he almost knee buckles. I think his legs almost try to give way a little. If you watch him when he lands,
watch his arm circle here.
His legs struggle a bit, see?
Yeah.
But look at the height. And that's even though he's a hair short, that's going to put pressure. That's going to put pressure on... That's going to put a bit of pressure on those two 1.5 pikes.
There was a little bit of a lag there with the buckle, wasn't it? Like a lag there.
There. Maybe it's the board again going in the water that made that.
There was a moment of he had to drive the legs through. But luckily his strength and conditioning is tip top, right? He could really.
It must be, to be able to handle the board bending that much.
Frank Burton back 1.5 somersaults pike.
It is. It's the brawn versus the beauty, isn't it? A little bit. You know what I mean? He's using these basic dives, and can he hold off? Can he hold off these strong lads that are using these harder dives? Because this really nice looking dive. It's just lower. You know what I mean? But it'd be interesting to see how the judges make the comparison.
It's an interesting point, right? Because judging is about takeoff, flight, and entry. So if it's a takeoff, you're looking for a really high takeoff. Okay, yes, not as high as someone like Hudson.
Yeah.
But then how do you balance it when you see such beautiful toe point and form?
But when he's a young junior, Frank, I can see once you were talking about strength and conditioning, I know Frank works really hard with the team down at the VIS. I can see him. I'm sure they're operating a plan to give him some bigger quads and to bend that board, and then you see that dive high, and then wow, what the potential of it? It could be great.
Thoughts on the S&C? Is it? I mean, there's some people are still liking some body weight stuff, single leg squats versus. Everyone's really doing the hack squats in the gym now, though, isn't it? It's a good combination.
The springboarders. I mean, for springboarders, it's all about legs. So there's a lot of Olympic lifting involved. They've got to develop strong abilities. Not just to jump, but to bend that board and stay. It's a different type of takeoff than we have our platform athletes. So they've got to have an ability to hold the strength while that board moves.
Yeah, because there's almost that pause on the board when you're down the bottom, because it's not the same as 10 metres. It's down up, this very explosive kind of coil reaction. But this, you kind of got to hold the board as it's coming down, that eccentric
Correct.
strength, right? You've got an eccentric load.
It's a more powerful takeoff. This is more strength involved. There's more strength involved in terms of the springboard group
and timing.
And again, we've got a fantastic team of coaches across the system that are very, very capable in working these spaces, depending on the specificity that's needed for the event the athletes are doing.
Interesting one, yeah. Reverse 1.5.
Reverse 1.5 twister. And I was talking to Chris last week. He does do harder dives, actually. He does a few, but a little bit like risk versus reward. And I think he's just chosen, and probably good with that hurdle, that hang 10 he had a minute ago, just to use some of his easier stuff in this competition, because he'll be feeling pretty nervous, I'm sure, diving at this level for the first time.
Yeah.
And I think it's paid off. I mean, that's a good example of a nice simple dive done well for him, and he'll be happy with that.
And he's done a lot of platform diving. I mean, he was leading up, back 2.5, 1.5 on 10 metres, so he could do his high dives as well. His back triple doubles. And
no, he does some big stuff. Yeah. And I mean, I take my hat off to anyone who goes up onto a 27-metre board and throws himself off as well. So, okay, look, there you go. Ben has done it. He's jumped into the second spot. James just slid back on that mistake, and Frank holding third.
It's interesting. I mean, look, it's an interesting story about Benjamin as well. There's never give up, right? Never give up. You never know what someone else is going to do in the competition. Just because he faults in the first two dives, just keep going forwards, right? You don't know what anyone else is going to do.
Absolutely.
Just stay in the game.
Absolutely.
Fight to the end. Have some grit and determination. He showed that. Again,
another simple type of dive here for young Hudson. A back 1.5. We could compare it, so you'll see it higher than the. He's done a good work. He just has those little over rotations, doesn't he, on the end there?
Yeah, he just needs a little bit of that toe save as well, that knee save. You're just gliding through. You can get that little bit of a cheat. It's hard once you're a little bit too far over.
And here we are up here judging away, but he's so high on it. It's not the easiest thing to do to be totally accurate,
but you got to give Hudson full marks for takeoffs on all of his dives.
He's not far off putting that board in the water backwards.
No.
Even not using a hurdle.
I mean, it's very good technique-wise. If you really look at his mechanics, right, his biomechanics on the takeoff, on his hurdles, his back and reverse, it's been impeccable.
Yeah. Right, talking of fighting back, well, James is doing a bigger dive now here, so is he going to be able to utilise this? A bit of risk.
Reverse 2.5.
Yeah.
Oh, snuck it through.
And we were talking about this with the young girls in the synchro this morning. Responds, you know what I mean? That's what he's responded. He's put a real putting a higher degree of difficulty dive in and whapping up another 60 points, which should put Frank under pressure. Good battle with both Frank and James are part of our junior Worlds team going to Croatia. And they're having a good battle here. This is, sort of good warm-up for the international event they've got ahead of them. Yeah, a bit of almost a smile there, you see. Almost a smile from James. He's smiling. There they are. And great camaraderie between the two of them as they battle along in this 1 metre final.
All right, so Benjamin had some big DD before. Now we're backing off, back 1.5 pike. This is really interesting. Right, we're kind of doing this lower degree of difficulty versus the high ones. It's sort of tit for tat.
That's why it's never over till it's over, like you were saying. You just got to keep going. I think that was great advice you were talking about a minute ago, Joey. Just keeping it going.
Oh,
it's a nice
and
style
holding steady,
that.
Holding steady. Nice come out, right? He's locked that out. Yep. Nice, good isometric hold.
Showing some of the others how that last part of that dive's done. Some really good technique being shown there from Ben.
I loved how just look at his come out. He really held his shape. Look at that.
Yeah.
He didn't pull too much.
Could chuck that in the textbut, couldn't you, in terms of where he's been looking on the way out of that.
That's what you call core strength as well when you're coming out. He really did. Yeah, lovely come out. Bang, sharp, held his line, pulled through, little knee save. Good job.
All right. Some dancing going on, some good mood down there amongst the other. Here comes Frank. Let's see if he can use the easier dive to hold off the pressure from James. Nice hurdle. Oh, there we go. You see, this event keeps moving. Let's see what happens with that. There's a really nice hurdle step, I must say. Again, going back to that form, it's his weapon, to look that nice, but he's under-rotated that a little bit.
Yeah, he looked a little stuck from the start too, didn't he?
Yeah.
Like he just needed a little bit more chili sauce, as I call it.
More chili sauce.
You got a little bit of chili sauce in that one, son. Give yourself some rotation.
We'll have to tell him afterwards. We'll go and buy him some. We'll nip down to Aldi in a minute and get him some.
There you go, son. Have some Tabasco sauce. Put a little bit of spice on your dab.
Yeah.
Sorry for my Bradford accent, if it was one.
Okay.
Okay. Pretty big dive. Reverse 2.5 somersault.
Yeah, see, that's what I'm saying. He's obviously using this opportunity to experiment. I've not seen these dives. Lost the nose a little bit.
Man.
Wow. Did you see that?
He held on. He stayed with it. He was in trouble, but he thought, nope, I'm not giving up on this dive. Again, we come back to that story of perseverance, not giving up. Well done. I mean, I thought for a second he was going to balk and just fall in.
Same.
And he was like,
the hurdle really let him down.
What?
And then a little bit like in a similar way to Chris earlier. But this is what I mean. Look how strong he is. Look what he did with that. You know, as a young boy, to be able to do that with a hurdle that doesn't quite go right for you and push and still make a reverse 2.5.
You've hit the nail on the head there.
Yeah.
Like, let's give him credit for that. Look, considering he didn't get to do an arm circle, right? You need an arm circle. Well, you should need an arm circle. Yeah. And he still did it. It's absolutely remarkable.
Amazing.
Powerful. 4.5 pike, Bednar.
Yeah.
There we go.
Very nice, very stable dive for him, I think. It sounded good in the water as well.
It's got that nice rip sound.
A solid dive from Chris. Just a shame about that reverse earlier because he's actually held his own nicely in here today. Just that one mistake. But we hear it all too often. We've spoken about it today. The art of a springboard diver is the hurdle step.
Absolutely.
To be able to manage all the different types of hurdles you need to keep a list consistent.
Well, we're getting into our final round now. Just got to give a shout out to Alex Newton, who didn't bring me my cappuccino. She said she would. So, Alex, I'm going to find the replay. Where's my cappuccino? You said you'd bring me one because I was running out of time.
Yeah. She did say that she was going to pop one earphone in and listen to us today, so just to make sure that we don't misbehave up here on the mics today. But
well, if she brings me my coffee, I won't misbehave. How about that?
I know, but it's a two-way street, isn't it?
Okay, Hudson Skinner leading the way, 262. Benjamin, wow, he's really creeping up there. That's interesting.
Yeah.
I would say kind of within striking distance now, too. Yeah.
And also James flipping the agenda with the young ones as well. We've got two battles going on here, haven't we? We've got the battle for the gold and the battle for the bronze going on here with one dive to go. So very exciting. Let's start with Hudson, his final dive. What's he up to? He's up to, it's a big one. 3 point. He's finishing strong with his front 2.5, one twist. We saw
full out, right? He's doing it full out.
Yep. We saw Ben use this earlier to good effect. This would make it hard for Ben to strike the gold if Hudson can hold himself together here.
Strong.
Board in the water again. It just slows the board down, which could cause him just to be that little bit short, but a lot of DD on this dive, which could serve him well.
Exactly. Just looking forward here at sort of Benjamin's DD as well. So, yeah, his final dive, a 3.0, so reverse 1.5, 2.5 twisters. So probably 0.2 less DD. It's still, big score there, 52. Not big score, but pretty good score.
Yeah.
Yeah, massive dunk of the board.
You have to buy
immensely strong.
You have to buy some new boards if he keeps bending it like that.
We've got two new ones on the Gold Coast. If you need one, let me know. We'll ship one up for you.
Not going to survive much longer. I think Huddo can go back to Victoria soon.
I'll speak to Alex Hutchinson, mate. We need another board. Before we
get a bill for some new ones from Duraflex.
Let's go and call our mate Mitch Geller, working for Duraflex now. Come on, son.
James using the simple double twister.
A little bit of troubles on the board,
isn't he? Yeah,
held on with the rest of the dive, and
he seems capable. Once he's getting off the board, he seems real capable. But it's just how he's coming off the board, and I'm sure.
Is he hanging 10 a bit here? Let's have a look.
So his coach Ed just wants to get that sorted, but no, it doesn't waste the dive. He's still putting points on the board, controlling the dive nicely into the water.
Yeah, held on. Just a smidge hang 10 on the board there. I was just a little, not drastically bad, but held on. Beautiful entry, well controlled.
Yeah.
Excellent work. Nice new KOS shirts there.
Being coached by Edwin Young, as the former 1 metre world champion in his days, remember, back in his younger time. Actually won the world championships in Australia.
Yeah, he used to train out here. I remember him. But I remember being amazed with watching him doing invertor and half for the first time. That was a huge thing back in the day. Nice
Oh,
work.
wow, this could be
Interesting.
This could be interesting for
Yep.
the finish. Could Ben have done the Houdini
Wow.
from last to first?
I mean, just, yeah, literally. I mean,
63. Is that enough to catch Hudson?
I like his twisting action.
Yeah.
He really got nice and zippy. Very technical word there, zippy.
No, isn't it? But
He's
just-
got a little crossover with his...
He's
yeah.
a very good twisting athlete. Is Ben?
Watch
And
his arms.
I'm
yeah.
really looking forward to this turning into a reverse 3.5 twister again. Looking at how this helps him on 3 metre.
It's kind of interesting watching that twisting style, obviously, when you have that gymnastics one. Okay, there, Benjamin. Wow.
He did it.
317,
Stole the
taking
show.
the lead over Hudson Skinner.
Left it to the last round.
304, amazing.
Had a really good dive to finish off with there, hustling his way into the first position and regaining his title. Another reverse twister.
Yeah.
It let one less twist, but
Yeah.
equally nice to look at. And again, where's that put him in the battle with James? Is that enough now for him to get
Yeah.
into the bronze?
It's interesting. What a fascinating competition with Benjamin. I dare say Benjamin's DD really carried him through.
Yeah.
You know, obviously Hudson sort of backed off on his DD on a few of the dives.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was
But also just
pretty interesting.
again, it fits into your never give up story today. There's a good example for himself, you know, to remember that it's not over till it's over, you know, and there's a good lesson for all in there.
There's Zachary's final dive.
Final dive,
Back
yes.
one half somersaults, one half twists.
You've got to make sure again he'll be using those legs again to get this height on this, because no hurdle underneath this to get this up in the air. You saw all the other guys doing this in the reverse direction. He's just choosing to do it from the standing. So you can only do that if you're strong. So a real prospect for the future, young Zach. And again, we'll see him in action in the 3 metre final tomorrow. It'll be his final event, but it's just been good to see some of the things he's working on the 1 metre at the moment as he sort of builds his program towards his main event, as I've said, the Junior World Championships later this year.
And a bit like that story with James Wood as well. Like, he's got that strength foundation, and you can always brush up the technique. You can always brush up the form later. It's fine.
Yeah.
And we had that exact same situation with Cass.
Yeah,
a little scruffy in the beginning. You can always work on that, you know.
I remember a very famous, many years ago, at a conference out in Athens, I met Hobie Billingsley, one of my heroes as a coach, who told me there's different ways. There was a diver called Mark Lindsay. You remember Mark?
Yeah, I remember Mark, yeah.
And he always told me he threw him around, taught him all the dives, and tidied him up afterwards.
Yeah.
And maybe that's the approach we need to take with Zach. You know what I
And
mean?
he was a wrestler.
Was he now?
He was a wrestler, and he didn't start diving until he was quite late in his career, like about 18 years of age.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mark Lindsay, he's professional wrestling college.
Wow.
Yeah, it's true.
Well, here we go, finishing dive for Chris, and again, great to see Chris back in the boards and diving at this level. And it's just that one error on reverse, but apart from that, I think he's done a real sort of stable list against some of our top divers in Australia at the moment. And I know him and his coach Jeff will be pretty happy with that.
Yeah, that's
as
good.
a finishing dive.
That's good stuff. Well, congratulations to all the men who competed this morning. And it was a great display of diving. Great to see some newcomers. Great to see the new talent, the likes of Zachary and Frank Burton there as well. And congratulations once again to Benjamin Wilson, who took the win once again. We thought he was not going to get that. I mean, it was looking a bit shaky to even be on the podium at one point.
I think sometimes with these divers, you keep your head in the event like that. You just wait him. If someone opens the door, be ready to walk back through it. And I think with some of the errors, there was a few. You know, it was an exciting competition to watch as it kept moving, and just the doors kept opening for Ben, and he clawed himself all the way back in and into that win. So, well done. And if we look at
There's a summary of Ben's competition I think we've got coming up.
Yeah.
Or not. All right, guys, we're going to take a little bit of a coffee break. I'm going to find Alex Newton and get my coffee.
Yeah.
And then we'll be back this afternoon.
And thank you, Joey, for inviting me to come and sit. I really enjoyed the conversation this morning. It's been great to review some of the stuff that's going on, the wonderful stuff that's going on with Diving Australia at the moment. And you've got the pleasure of Cassiel. He's promised me he's going to come in this afternoon, and I'm sure you'll get some wonderful insight out of one of our leading athletes in the system at the moment.
Yeah, and it's always good. I mean, this is sort of what I want to do in these these streams at the moment is just to dig a little deeper and get into some information about, you know, what it's like the day in the life of Cass, let's say, you know, like things you're interested in, because it's like there's a holistic approach to the world of diving. But and also thank you for being so candid about everything. But I just really wanted to get a bit more insight into the real world of diving, and for me, I've got to say I've missed it, so I love this community. All right, thanks for tuning in.
Just do a bit of that tomorrow. Thank you, everyone, and that's us.
Okay, take care.